All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is April 15th. We got a full jam-packed slate of MLB games to jump into today. We're going to go through each and every game. I'll talk about the game. I'll give you my lean or leans on the game, but all my final plays, tell you guys every video, right? All my final plays, what I'm actually going to be rolling with and counting towards our record, those will be in the pinned comment. Coming off of a 1, 2, and 1 night last night. Not the best. Looking to bounce back today. In fact, yesterday wasn't a great day overall. We lost our TikTok account, which I'm sure many of you guys were following. We had almost 30K over there, and we got permanently banned for reasons unknown. I know we didn't do anything wrong, so we are working to try and get that account back. But in the interim, guys, we did start a new account. I'll put that link in the description as well as the pinned comment. That's where we do our nerfies, our player props, prize pick plays, that type of thing. If you guys wouldn't mind heading over and tossing that a follow, even if you didn't follow the original TikTok account, it would mean a lot and show a lot of support if you guys did head over there and just click follow on that account there. I'll put that link again in the pinned comment and the description. But really stinks to lose it, obviously, as a content creator too. It's like one stream of content that you lose is a pretty big deal. So if you guys wouldn't mind supporting, head over there and hit that follow button. We will build either that account back up to where we were or hoping to get our original account back, but it does stink to lose it. But yeah, nonetheless, no woe is me stories, guys. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button here, and let's jump into today's video. Y'all have actually been killing the like button as well, so let's do that again. Act like the bases are loaded and you get a 65-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle, and you're like, oh my god, chomping at the bit, ready to hit it out of the park, into the street, into the water, out of this atmosphere. Go ahead and do that, guys. Hit that like button, and let's jump into the first game. We got the Yankees taking on the Twins here. Yanks minus 134 at home here on the money line. Total is at 8.5. Herman is pitching for the Yankees. He did not look great last time out, and then Mal on the mound for the Twins. He's 1-1 on the season with a 4.09 ERA. I do think the Yankees get this one done, so I'm going to give a couple leans in this one. First off, I do like the under ever so slightly at 8.5. I do think that this one probably sticks around 7-8 runs if I had to take a guess, which, hey, maybe we're guessing, maybe we're predicting. You don't know. I get all the hate comments all the time, right? This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. All right, then don't watch. But yeah, yesterday's game was 4-3. Game prior to that, obviously the Twins went out there and crushed it, 11 runs, but I don't think that that's an 11-run team, right? So I'm going to lean towards the under. And then in terms of a money line, I do like the Yankees. I've seen minus 120s on plenty of sports books for money line as well, so I think you can get better value than the screenshot that we grabbed here. But what I also like is the Minnesota run line plus the 1.5. Now you're getting terrible odds like minus 170, but it kind of shows you that, yes, I think it's going to be an under. I think the Yankees win, but I wouldn't consider Yankees minus 1.5. I think there's going to be another close game. Moving on, we got the Tigers taking on the Giants here. Tigers at home, plus 145 on the money line here. Total is sitting at 9 runs. Yesterday's game, that was our nerfie of the day. We lost our first nerfie in 8 games. We had the no runs first inning, then Tigers go and score a run in the bottom of the first. But Tigers here won that game 7-4. But it's a fairly even matchup when it comes to hits, walks, and strikeouts here. 11 hits for San Francisco, 3 walks and 13 strikeouts. Detroit, 10 hits, 5 walks, and 15 strikeouts. So just a couple more, pops off the bat for Detroit, obviously. I don't have a starting pitcher for Detroit, which I guess doesn't matter to me either way because I am going to lean towards the Giants money line regardless. You get them in the minus 140s. That is a decent amount of juice to pay, but I don't necessarily hate it. So I am going to lean Giants, but again, it's still to be announced, at least on a couple sites that I'm trying to get lineups off of here early this morning. Tigers don't know exactly who's trotting out there yet, but we're leaning Giants regardless. And in terms of the total, I think this one gets up and over that 9. Now I wish this was 8.5 because I could also see it landing on 9, but I don't mind the over here. I think this can get into double digits. All right, White Sox taking on the Orioles here. White Sox get Michael Kopech on the mound. He's 0-2 on the season with a 6.75 ERA. Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Orioles, 3-0 on the season, 3.44 ERA. Looks like he's pitching well. I'm going to lean towards Baltimore here, minus 114 on the money line. I just don't see the value at White Sox being plus 102 here, so I'm going to lean towards Baltimore. Yesterday they take the win as well, 6-3. Game before that, which was I think they met last year, they had won that. And you're gonna have to look back like 3 games before Chicago actually took a win against Baltimore, dating back over a season. So I do think that this is a spot for Baltimore. They clearly match up well, just in terms of historics here. And then in terms of the total, I wanted to lean over 9, but there is going to be some severe wind blowing in, I guess, coming in from right field to home plate. It's going to be nice and warm. That's one positive for the over, but I can't go against that wind, so I'm going to lean towards the under in this one. Next up, we're looking at Pittsburgh taking on St. Louis Cardinals here. Cardinals, Matt's on the mound for them. He's 0-2 with an 8.18 ERA. Contreras on the mound for the Pirates has an 8 ERA as well. Both these pitchers clearly have not got their stuff going yet. St. Louis, though, minus 200 at home here on the money line. Total is at 8.5. In yesterday's game, St. Louis wins that one 3-0, but we're just a couple days removed from the Pirates winning this one 5-0. So I'm going to lean towards the under because we've shown that this is going one of two directions. Either one team's playing well, the other one doesn't, or, vice versa. So I am going to lean towards the under there. In terms of what we've seen out of St. Louis, though, a little bit too inconsistent for me to lay minus 200, okay? So I am going to lean towards Pittsburgh very slightly. You're getting very good money here, plus 175 money line on the road. And I don't think if they didn't take that first game of the series 5-0, I wouldn't consider this. But they've shown that they can do that, so I'm going to lean towards Pittsburgh here. And like I said, also the under. All right, we got the Blue Jays taking on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay finally getting a loss. They're now 13-1 on the season. Foucher on the mound for them. He's a 4.5 ERA. And then Kikuchi, I think I'm saying that right, on the mound for the Jays. He's 1-0 on the season, 6.75 ERA. Again, Rays taking that loss yesterday. Toronto wins that game 6-3. That was one of our money line plays yesterday. We took the Rays. That lost. Womp womp. Soundboard does better than me. And then we also had the over 9 in that game. That was a push. So that was when I said we were 1-2-1 yesterday, this game resulted in both a push and a loss, which is a little bit unfortunate there. In terms of what we're seeing from this game, though, I think that the Rays do bounce back in this spot. I can't imagine them losing 2 games in a row with as good as they've been playing. And you're getting plus money, plus 104 odds for them on the money line. So I think this is a very good spot for them. Obviously, I don't want to back the pitcher, but I can back that offense against any opposing pitcher. So I'm going to lean towards the Rays here, plus money on the money line. And then in terms of a total, sitting at 10 runs here. We got burned by it yesterday. I think that a similar sort of a score breakdown probably ends up happening today. So I'm going to lean towards the under just ever so slightly. Again, 9 runs. I could see this one being around, 10 runs. I could see this one being around 9 runs. So not that big of a margin or anything like that. I'm not, tied at the hip to this pick. All right, let's move on here. We got Milwaukee taking on the Padres here. Milwaukee 10-4 on the season. Peralta on the mound, 7.75 ERA. Record at 2-0. And then Lugo on the mound for the Padres, 2-0 with a 1.38 ERA. So obviously still early in the season, but statistically speaking, these two pitchers are looking fairly good. Milwaukee, we've been backing them probably since the beginning of the year here. Definitely a team that's made us some money. They've taken 2 out of this series already, and they've been underdogs for at least that first game. They're underdogs again today. I like the spot for them here. Padres minus 127 on the money line at home. Milwaukee, you're getting about plus 115. I think that they win this game. I also don't hate Milwaukee plus 1.5 on the run line. You're paying some bad juice, but we've shown that either Milwaukee is going to keep this close or win the game outright. So I'm leaning towards them there. In terms of the total, 8 I think is a little bit too low from what we've seen from these two ball clubs. At least this season. I know the first game, would hit under, and then Milwaukee goes and pretty much cashes this over themselves yesterday. But nonetheless, I do still lean towards the over in this one. I think this Milwaukee ball club has a pretty damn good firepower, surprisingly, I guess, on the offensive end. All right, we got the Nationals taking on the Guardians here. Nationals at home, plus 155 money line. Total is at 9.5. Cool on the mound for the Nationals. He's 0-0 on the season, no decisions, with 8.1 ERA. Plastic on the mound for the Guardians. He has a 9 ERA. 2 pitchers that, at least statistically, again, it's still early. I'm willing to always give pitchers, first 10 starts to truly know exactly who they are. Now, that's a lot of starts to give, don't get me wrong. But, right now, it's still a couple weeks into the MLB season. We can't totally judge pitchers for their first couple games because some of these guys pitched 3 innings on opening day, and it might have been cold where they were, anything like that. They had up a couple runs in 3 innings. All of a sudden, you're looking at an ERA of, 7+ or that type of thing. So keep that in mind. But Cleveland coming off the win yesterday against Washington. I think that this one goes a very similar direction today. Now, the money for Cleveland is a little bit too much for me to consider, minus 166. So that is a little bit unfortunate. I don't totally love them on the run line, but if I did have a gun to my head, which I don't, Cleveland, I do not mind the run line either, -1.5. Now they're not really I wouldn't say they're really a run line type of a team, if that makes sense at all. I feel like they are kind of a team in which, they're winning these games by 1 runs or that type of thing. But I don't really trust Washington whatsoever right now. 1, pitching wise, 2, defensively, or 3, offensively. So I'm kind of sticking away from them and truly fading them, guys. By the way, we lost our TikTok account, right? Go pick up some shirts. Support me, guys. We have a link for this in the description. This is one of the new Fade Me tees. I'm loving it as well. We got some baseball ones as well. Definitely go check that out. Then in terms of a total for this game, again, 9.5 is what we're looking at here. I like the under. I like the under a decent amount. All right, we got the A's hosting the Mets here. Athletics +164 on a lot of sports books. We have them at +170 from where we pulled in our data for the screenshot here. Total is at 9.5 right now. This A's team, you guys know I'm not a very, very big fan of them. And they go out there and score 6 runs yesterday. And you're like, oh, good job. The offense is kind of cooking, right? The Mets score 17 on their face here. So this Mets team is obviously going to be my play today. I like the over as well. That is a high over at 9.5, but you get 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing directly out to center field. So I do like that. It's going to be a little chilly, which in Oakland there, 59 degrees or so, but I do like the over, and I like the Mets run line in this one as well for -120, not plus money. I wish it was plus money, but that's kind of going to turn me off from it, I guess. But I will say, you got to look at this A's team and say, okay, at some point you got to be able to fade them. Like Fujinami or whatever his name is pitching today. I think he has an ERA of over 20, or he did a couple days ago or whatever it was. So yikes for them. I cannot bet on the A's. I can't even lean the A's as of right now. I know we did a couple days ago and they cashed run line for us. So hey, I've been a hypocrite before, but not today. This does not. You don't see a team get 17 dropped on them and then they're like, yeah, let's go win tomorrow. No, they're in their dumps today. So I'm gonna lean Mets run line here. I don't totally love it, but what I do like is the over. All right, Cincinnati taking on the Phillies here. Cincinnati -108 here on the money line at home. Total is sitting at 9 runs. Yesterday's game went about as expected. Philly comes back after, Cincinnati wins 6-2. Philly comes back, wins 8-3. I think these are 2 very, very close teams. Like I've said throughout the series, that I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of like hop, skip, and jump and flip-flop what they're going to do. So with that mindset in mind, I'm going to lean towards the Reds here, -108 at home. Both teams are -108 or -105, depending on what sportsbook you're looking at. So clearly, Vegas is agreeing that these are 2 very, very similar teams in similar positions here. So I'm going to lean towards the Reds here on the money line. Total is, again, at 9 runs. I don't really love this, but I'm going to go towards the over, but I'm slightly leaning that way. We really haven't seen it. Yesterday, obviously, they cashed the over. The game before, Cincinnati did their job. They scored 6 runs. Philly only scored 2. But regardless, I do like the over ever so slightly in this one. All right, Marlins taking on the Diamondbacks. Marlins now finally underdogs here. They're -128 at home. Total is at 8.5. This Diamondbacks team is now kind of puzzling me. So what was it? Game 1 yesterday of the series. I think that was the first game of the series, if my memory serves me. I didn't think that Miami would win that game 5-1, and they did. They really were in control. I think they had 11 hits off of Arizona, and they barely, in terms of strikeouts, barely any strikeouts. So they were right. They were just, I guess I would say, outperforming what I ever would have thought they would. Now, it's not like I'm a Miami hater or anything like that, but they've been looking a lot better than I would have thought. So that's the way I'll put it. They've won us money too. I can't be bummed about that. But they've won 3 straight. They took 3 against Philly, then 1 yesterday. 2 of those games they were underdogs in. They have, I think it was on the season so far, either I want to say 4 or 5 underdog, when they were underdogs, wins this season. They only have 7 wins, so most of these wins are coming as underdogs here. On the mound for the D-backs is Nelson. He's 1-0 with a 4.9 ERA, and then Garrett on the mound for the Marlins. No decisions yet, but he's a 4.7 ERA. I have to lean towards Miami. They're playing really good baseball as of late. This Arizona team, yes, it scares me. I think at any given moment, I can be like, oh yeah, that Arizona team is better than the Marlins. I would admit that if that were to happen. We haven't seen that yet, so I am going to lean towards the Marlins here. And then in terms of the total, I think that total is a little bit too high here, 8.5 runs. We really haven't seen Arizona's bats get hot in a little while, so I'm going to lean towards the under. All right, moving on, we got my Boston Red Sox hosting the LA Angels here. Nick Pivetta, who's probably the only pitcher that looks decent, I guess, for the Red Sox here on the mound. He's got a 0.9 ERA. Ty Anderson on the mound for the Angels, 1-0 with a 4.22 ERA. Yesterday's game, Red Sox take that win 5-3, which is good to see. Tanner Houck, I guess I should also throw in there. He's playing decent on the pitching mound. playing decent on the pitching mound. It's a bag of sand. But yeah, I do think that this Red Sox team is a little inconsistent. Luckily, they're playing a team that I don't think is the most consistent team either in terms of what they're doing. LA this season has been winning games, losing to bad teams, beating good teams, that type of thing. Whereas Boston, a bunch of losses there in it's kind of a crapshoot type game on either side of this. I will lean the Red Sox because it is plus money on the money line here, and I like Pivetta this season. Total is at 9.5 runs. That is just a little too high for me. But when I say a little too high, it is like a little too high. I could totally see this going over. If you have the over in this game, I wouldn't let what I'm saying right now kind of talk you off of that, but I like the Red Sox and the over here. Moving on, we got the Royals taking on the Braves. Braves 10-4 on the season. Elder on the mound. He's got a 0.0 ERA, 1-0 on the season. Bubik on the mound. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. On the mound for the Royals, 0-1 with a 1.64 ERA. This total right now is at 8.5 runs. I've seen 9 on some sports books. Kansas City plus 123 on the money line here. Atlanta is going to be my lean money line. Minus 136 I think is very good value. You saw that what they could do. We've seen what they could do all season long, I should say, but saw what they can do yesterday against this ball club, winning 10-3. That was our only win of the day. They've won 4 straight games here, and they've only lost. Like I said, they're 10-4 on the season. Very good ball club, and Royals just aren't. So I'm going to lean towards the Braves. Whenever you can get value like this, minus 136. I do want to pull the trigger on that. And then in terms of the total, 8.5. Again, I've seen it 9 on plenty of sports books, but either way, I'm going to look at the over. If it's 8.5 or 9, I think that we are looking at an over and a game that which goes into the double digits. All right, the Astros taking on the Rangers here. Astros minus 175 at home. Total is sitting at 8 runs right now. This Rangers team's got John Gray on the mound. He's got a 3 ERA on the season. Hunter Brown on the mound for the Astros, a 3.09 ERA. This line, or I guess I should say this odds here for the money line, is a little perplexing to me. I would not expect, now I don't mind Astros as the favorites in terms of, who's on what side and that type of thing. I get that, but for this to be that big of a jump here is kind of crazy. We just saw game 1 of the series yesterday. Houston loses. Texas wins that game 6-2. Now you're telling me that after that, Texas is even more underdogs at plus 159 on the road. I think I'm going to lean in that direction, but what I do like is Texas plus 1.5 for minus 125-ish odds on the run line there. I think that is a good spot for them. I'm not going to consider Houston minus 173, minus 175, whatever you want to get them at on the money line. I don't really think that that's an intelligent play. Do they win the game? Well, Vegas thinks they will. The odds say they will. So I don't think that that's a dumb play to say, oh, they're going to win. But to put money on a team that, for minus 175, albeit, right? To put money on that, and a team that hasn't really been performing like you thought they would, seems kind of asinine to me. So I'm going to look at the Rangers, either money line or run line, or we split a unit, do a half unit on money line, half unit on run line, and we'll see where that comes out. But I do think that that is my play today. And then in terms of the total, I'm going to be looking at the over in this one. All right, we got the Chicago Cubs taking on the Dodgers here. Talon on the mound for the Cubs. He's 0-2 with a 6 ERA. Michael Grove on the mound for the Dodgers, 14.73 ERA. This Dodgers team, I'm not going to lie. I thought that they were a very good team. They have been, I think that Pittsburgh series kind of like messed with them or something, because our San Francisco series, I believe, and then the Arizona series following that, but they have not looked all that great. They take the loss yesterday to the Cubs, 8-2. Now, I'm no Michael Grove fan either, so I think I'm going to lean towards the Cubs in this one. My only concern is I could totally see LA coming back and being like, okay, come on, decompress. We are a really good ball club. Let's win this game. So I'm going to lean Cubs because of the money here, plus 139. I also don't mind them plus 1.5 at minus 145. A lot of juice if you're into that, but if you like juice. But in terms of a total here, it is 9 runs. I think this one gets into the double digits. But yeah, this LA team, or Dodgers team, I should say, is a little perplexing as of late. All right, last game of the slate, we got the Mariners taking on the Rockies here. Mariners minus 240 at home. Total is at 8 runs in this one. This Rockies team is just not good. I think we could say that. They lose 5-3 yesterday. They lost 3 straight. They lost the last 2 games. Who they play last series? St. Louis, I want to say. I don't have that in my notes. I believe I'm right. St. Louis, they lost the last 2 games there, and then they lose to Seattle. Seattle has won 2 straight. They won the last game of their previous series, and then game 1 here. Their run line here is a little tempting at minus 120. That's the way that I'm going to lean. I don't love this game altogether. The total though at 8 runs, I do think that this one looks at an over. I like that there. I don't necessarily love each side, but I do like the over. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys do enjoy. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and then please, I hate being sappy and like woe is me, but please go follow that new TikTok. It would mean a lot if you did. And I'll catch you guys in the next video, all right? Peace out.